control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah. Remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media.
I was wondering who did that. Thanks.
Ain't nothing to it. A baby could do it.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
I'm a human being, god damn it! My life has value! It's time to ask yourself what you believe.
Mass murder, torture, perjury, embezzlement, fraud, deception, treason. These are just a few of your many crimes against humanity. You will not win this war, for you are fighting the very essence of humanity.
We make this judgment affirmatively. It will be an entire nation.
To the cloud. All right, Mark, you know what you need to do? You need to wake the hell up. I have Mark Arlson from wakethehellup.com or .org. I forgot. I apologize.
.com. Yeah.
.com. Okay. And
it's actually more complicated than that, the URL, but I'll give it to you a little later.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Give it to me, and then when we do the titles, I'll put it in there for you. So, Mark, would you please tell people what Wake the Hell Up is about?
Well, it's just that. It's to wake people up to the New World Order agenda. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And it's a very simple way to get lots of people, informing a lot of people about what's really going on. That's that simple.
So what is your process and how, well, you know what, this is what I ask most of the people that I interview. What was your awakening point, or what was the thing that made you wake up to the New World Order?
Oh, wow, it was a long time ago. A long time ago, a friend of mine was reading a book. Actually, a friend, it was actually my boss, but he was a personal friend too. He was reading a book called None Dare Call It Conspiracy. And I couldn't get it out of his hands. And I said, where did you get the book? And so I went to a bookstore, bought the book. I guess maybe it was a 150-page book written by someone named Gary Allen. And I sat down that evening, read it all night. And I didn't finish it that night, but the next night I did finish it. So I read the whole book. It dealt with New World Order agenda, dealt with Council on Foreign Relations, banking, and who was in this conspiracy. And I was really, for me, it really didn't change my belief system that much. I was kind of already I wouldn't say anti-establishment, but not really trusting of the establishment. So, so it was not easy. It was not hard for me to believe what I was reading.
It's funny, you couldn't get it out of his hands, and now that it was into your hands, you couldn't get it out of your hands.
Right, actually that happened. Actually, a couple of people couldn't get it out of my hands at work, and before you knew it, about 8 or 10 of us were reading it. And I'm still in touch with a couple of these people, and one of them, actually 2 of them are very active within our, quote, freedom movement, liberty movement, whatever. One lives in New York and the other one lives in Florida. So.
So then after that, like, you just started reading a lot, watching a lot of videos, I'm sure, right? That as one usually does, right? When you start, you just. No,
this was long before the internet. Hey, I'm an old guy.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
This was long before the internet, and I didn't know anything else that was out there. But this was always in the back of the mind with everything I did in my career. It turned me really from a very liberal mindset, which was where my family was at, to I don't consider myself conservative or liberal. I just am me and believe in truth, looking for truth. I didn't really know anything was out there. So I really had a second awakening. I already knew what was going on. I had developed a business with somebody else that was going to really try to impact people on an international scale at one point, a nonprofit that I started. with another individual. So I knew what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on the internet until 2004. My wife was reading an article by a pastor named Lindsey Williams, and said,
"Oh, I know that guy. Yeah,
okay,
yeah."
I said, Mark, get a load of this. And as soon as she told me what it was about, and about oil and suppression of bringing oil to the market and everything else, I said, let me read that interview. So I read the interview, and then I looked him up on the internet, found him, and found interviews. I think it was with Dr. Stanley Monteith. I don't know if you know who he was.
I've heard that name. Yeah.
He passed away a few years ago, but he had a wonderful program, very enlightened. He was a retired physician. And I listened to an interview with him and Lindsey Williams. And then soon after, I found him on an Alex Jones interview. And so I listened to that and started then listening to Alex Jones and all of his other people he had on. And it was like a whole world opened up that, my God, there's all of this on the internet. And I had no idea it was there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's where I remember when I first started watching Alex Jones. Yeah, Lindsey Williams, because he would have him on. And I remember he would like, Lindsey Williams has some big news coming. And then he'd like stall it. And then you're waiting to hear what Lindsey Williams is going to say. And then he'd say something and I'd be like, but I know that already. Like, you know, like it wasn't a surprise to me. I don't know at the time, I guess, because I've been doing by that time.
Yeah, and his credit, I mean, he really, there's some things that he said that were pretty remarkable. It's that basically the information he had, he was getting firsthand because he lived with these people for 3 years. So he actually lived with many of the top oil men on the planet who were all in this conspiracy. So for 3 years, he heard it. And the one thing he did hear that was pretty remarkable was that the oil discovery that was made up on a place called Gull Island, up in the Prudhoe Bay, up off the north slope of Alaska, that may have been the biggest oil find ever, certainly the biggest ever in the United States, and that we probably had more oil at that point available to us in the United States than in Saudi Arabia, and yet this whole oil find was just closed and not disclosed to the public, and we were forced to continue to have our oil from, to get most of our oil from Saudi Arabia. So that was fascinating because I certainly never heard that before. And he said a few things that I didn't hear anywhere else. But generally speaking, you're right. Most of what he did say, we already knew. He just substantiated things we already knew. Yeah. And he said that he was only allowed to talk so much about what he knew. And so I don't know. But I think his intention.
You know, I liked him. I wasn't any discredit to him at all. But I just that was just my memory of that name. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I remember Lindsey Williams. You know.
Yeah, well, he did his thing. I mean, he's probably in his 80s now. He's still alive.
He's still alive?
Oh yeah, he's still
alive. What? Wow. Okay. I thought he passed.
Well, hope not. As far as I know, he's still alive. As far as my last look at his website, was probably a month or two ago. So yeah, but he doesn't have anything to add anymore. He doesn't have a contact anymore that's really that great. He had one that was really terrific at one time that gave him a lot of inside information. But nevertheless, that's what got me to find everything else on the internet. And then I just started eating this stuff up like crazy.
So it's, I feel like I'm a little, before the internet, I'm always fascinated by people that woke up before the internet, just by reading a book or something.
Right.
Did you try and tell other people, like when you read this book, and did you try, when I talked to J.R. Griffin, you know, he went to the library a lot and he did microfiche, and, you know, as we talked about, did you do that too, where you were trying to find similar books and then also tell people about, you know, what was going on and the other information that you knew?
No, not too much. I read a Barry Goldwater book, which, and Barry Goldwater is the only presidential candidate we probably ever had. that was totally not just aware of the conspiracy, as most presidential candidates are, maybe all of them are, but was willing to speak out about it. And
I didn't know that. Didn't Hillary Clinton work for him? Sorry, didn't she work for him for a bit?
For
Barry Goldwater, or no?
me, no.
She was a gold. She called herself a Goldwater girl. Maybe this is a different Goldwater or something.
No, not me.
Okay, go on.
No, but I read his book, which so it was really that book and the book of Barry Goldwater's, especially the sections on it I concentrated on where he talked about the Council on Foreign Relations. And he was very outspoken. You know, when he ran for president, he was, the media just smeared him like crazy as being a warmonger, which he was not. He ran against Lyndon Johnson, right? He loses the election in a landslide. Lyndon Johnson goes and escalates the Vietnam War.
It's always these psychopaths always project on, what they're doing to other people onto other people.
Yeah, but Barry Goldwater definitely in favor of peace.
Yeah. Darn. So no, you weren't grabbing people by the shirt. You'd be like, you need to wake up.
Yeah. So other than that, I didn't read anything except talking to people and finding some people who knew what was going on here and there. And this nonprofit organization that I launched back in the late 1990s, my partner in it was very aware of what's going on. And we're doing some things that were challenging the establishment with this a little bit. And oddly enough, I remember this was about 1998. Every time we had a phone call together, we'd hear clicking on the line. And we were doing some things that was really probably had the eyes open of the Rockefeller Foundation, because we were doing some things to help small businesses worldwide with American know-how, which is kind of the function of this nonprofit. And we're stepping on their toes, I think, a little bit. And so I think that they were actually tapping our phones.
Oh, wow.
We were laughing.
Did that freak you out? Or
whoever it is, no, we were laughing about it on the phone. I mean, we weren't afraid about it. Thought it was funny that we were actually getting this kind of attention.
My friend and I do that too, because sometimes we'll hear noises and we're like, what's up, tappers? How you doing? I'm like, well, we hope you're taking this information into account, because this is going to affect you, tappers, wiretappers.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about it, this is the only time I ever heard clicking on the phone was when I was having conversations with my partner.
Yeah. I don't know. So did you anticipate, because a lot of my friends and I talk about this, because you've definitely been doing it for this work far longer than 10 years. And I would say I'm about at a decade right now, because I started around 2010.
Yeah.
Did you anticipate that we would be where we are at this moment now in your lifetime?
Well, I didn't anticipate definitely this, quote, pandemic, unquote. But I really thought that we were going to see, with 2008, I thought we were going to see the whole collapse then. And I thought we were going to see in 2012, I thought it was going to happen. 2016, I thought it was going to happen. And just from sources I had and trying to put things together. I knew one thing Lindsey Williams did do was when I was listening to him in 2004, 2005, I knew that things were going to crash around 2007. So, and that they were going to blow up this bubble, this housing bubble, and it was going to crash. So I knew that. So I was expecting that, but I really thought that was going to lead to the whole collapse. And so I really thought it was going to happen sooner. I thought we were in deep doo-doo a lot sooner than we are.
So yeah, that's interesting. So you just knew it was going to happen. Something like this was going to happen, but you didn't know when, and you didn't really have any, you didn't really know how they were going to try and lock down, the world. And
yeah, I thought it would probably be EMP attack, maybe the war with Iran, a war with Iran. It might be a few other things that could trigger it. But I knew they had to have an excuse. They had to have a reason for the economy to collapse, so they're not blamed for it. So and what they were doing, and we didn't get, most of us didn't understand, was an incredible plan. These people they're geniuses. They're brilliant people.
Diabolical geniuses.
Oh, sure. They're psychotic, but you can be very intelligent. Hitler was brilliant, and Stalin was brilliant. These people were brilliant, but they were totally crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's a common mistake that people make is they collapse benevolence with intelligence. They think because you're a highly intelligent person that you're a benevolent one, and that's why a lot of people fall for a lot of the stuff. Frankly, I believe they think that Bill Gates, even though he didn't even invent DOS, he stole it, and but people even they're like, oh, he's because of Microsoft, and because Bill Gates, we have computers, and he's a genius, so therefore he must be a good person.
Well, if it wasn't for him, we would have had Apple Computer, and we would have had, in my opinion, being in marketing in my whole life, a better interface, and I wouldn't have to deal with clients using DOS when I was using a Mac back in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
So I would have been happier if Bill Gates never existed personally.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people that have been genocided by his vaccine program would appreciate that too.
Yeah, people, especially in Africa, I'm sure they appreciate what he's done.
And India, and even all over. I'm doing research for my course right now that I'm developing, and I just came across, I was researching the Tuskegee experiment, but I also came across some information too that they did a syphilis experiment in Guatemala. I'm like, these people, they don't stop. They don't stop. Like, evil doesn't take a day off. They don't take a vacation. They're just everywhere. I'm like, geez.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's a nightmare what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And people still, put it this way, it's a little bit easier now to wake up the average person because a lot of people fed up with what's going on with COVID and all this, the lies and the wearing of masks and the social distancing. The small business owners are going crazy now. This is the time where we have an opportunity. It's our last chance, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's either now or forget it.
Yeah. Where do you see this going? We've talked about it, but what do you tell the viewers what you think? If we don't get a sufficient amount of people to really recognize what's going on, like, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I've listened to some people. Richie from Boston has really been talking about this too. And I said, yeah, Richie, I think you're really spot on with what you're saying. There's another gal who's just tremendous. Her name is Lena Poo, and she's a researcher, and she's done a lot of research on 5G. And she also shares similar views to me, and probably a lot of other people sharing it too, but aren't talking about it. I think what I see what's going on with the hosts of most programming today is they're stuck in what's happening now. They're talking about the lockdown, they're talking about wearing masks, they're talking about social distancing. And I think we got to look at what's the next step for these people and what they're bringing in. Remember that interview or when Bill Gates was talking about wait till the next wave, and you saw a stupid smirk in his face, like he knows what's really going to happen.
Yeah, I hate him.
And this is what I think is going on. I think that the next wave of this. Oh, and Joe Ambriano, I want to mention him too, because he the Fullerton Informer, he knows too. He knows what's going on next. He sees it.
And I would have to admit, I'm included in these people that you talked about. That's kind of talking about what's happening in the now, and I would like to move away from that.
We have to, for our own sakes, but for the sake of everybody else, because I think what we're being faced with, really, I think the fact that there's so many inconsistencies about what's going on, and the numbers are inconsistent. The elite are smarter than this. They're doing all this on purpose. I really believe that. They're purposely trying to create confusion and to get us saying, don't believe the government, don't believe the CDC, don't believe the World Health Organization, and we should all go back to work and blah, 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 which is true. I agree with that, but I think they're going to use this because I think the next phase is coming in is going to be deadly. Because they're going to have the vaccines, who knows what's going to go in them. And you're talking about this like crazy. And I think this could really be deadly. Some people may die right away. Some people might take years for it to kill them, but it's definitely a eugenics vaccine. I believe that. And 5G coming up online. Yeah. So they've got a mixed soup all ready to go. They've got 5G, they got the vaccines, they got GMOs, they got all the poisons in our water supply. They got geoengineering in the sky. They got all these things going on to destroy our immune systems and to get us sick. And
These are the same parallels. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to, just before I forget, these are the same parallels that happened with the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
Where they introduced a vaccine into, it was mainly like the military though that was vaccinated, but also I think they had an introduction into some kind of like radio waves.
Mm-hmm.
These two combination of two things just obliterate people's immune system, and like millions of people die. But they, you know, of course they write it off as a virus, like they always do. Right? They just blame everything on a virus, on this invisible monster that nobody can see.
So I see when the vaccine hits and everyone's getting the vaccine, number one, and 5G is being activated, I see all this coming into play, and we're going to see a lot of people getting sick, a lot of people dying. And I hate to say it, but I think they could even target children. These people are nuts, and I'm really worried about that, because we're all saying kids should go back to school. They never get this thing. Don't worry about it. But what they're creating, they're putting 5G into the schools.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Right, so that the vaccine plus 5G plus all this other crap.
Plus the masks lower your immune system, and you're keeping people in a constant state of fear and paranoia, and that lowers your immune system as well.
All of it. It's all, I see it that it's probably all part of it, and that we are going to be faced with something very dangerous down the road. And I think what they're going to do, the mainstream media will talk this up like crazy. And who they're going to blame for it? Us.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we need is this legislation that makes it illegal to talk against the government narrative on health. So it becomes illegal to talk against the CDC. It becomes illegal to talk against the World Health Organization, or what Bill Gates is saying, or Fauci's saying. That we have to go along with everything. And if you go against that narrative and you say anything online, okay, now there's a law against it and you will be arrested. And the scary thing, to make it even worse, they get people riled enough and blaming us and say, we need to go retroactive on this and take all these people and take them out of society. Yeah. Otherwise, the human race isn't going to survive, or some ridiculous thing like that. So this is why I think what the people, and I think of like David Icke, and he's got to start talking about the future too. I think it's really important for him and James Corbett and all these people start talking about what we think may happen.
Yeah, at least whether it happens or not, but we need to have that out there, the possibility out there, so we know how to defend against it. You know,
well, if we're all speaking out about this, everybody's speaking out, it may delay them. Yeah. Or even stop them from launching it, because they know the fingers are going to be pointed at them and not us. And if we can cause that to happen, we may look foolish the fact nothing happened. So the caveat is that, you know, we may stop them from doing this.
I don't care about looking foolish. I'd rather it not happen. Then I'd rather look foolish and be wrong and it not happen than it happen and we weren't prepared and they're successful because we were afraid to talk about it, you know?
Yeah, so what we need to do now is we need to wake up as many people as possible around the globe. And so I put this thing together. I had this idea. I'll explain to you how I came up with this idea, and it goes back a ways. Okay, if you don't mind, I'll talk about this. Really, I was thinking about doing something from the day I listened to that Lindsey Williams interview, that eventually I'm going to have to do something. And that part of my motivation for listening to all these different talk shows years was I got to figure out something I can do to help. I had no idea what that was then. And around 2012, I came up with this idea that the biggest target market after 2008 that was being hit and understood the problems in the economy were being affected the most were small business owners. So I've been a former president of a local chamber of commerce. I've been out in the business community a lot, know a lot of small business owners, worked with them. A lot of them have been clients of mine. That this is a target market that's ripe for being awakened. So I started going to Chamber of Commerce mixers and networking events. There's a big one that I was going to often called Network After Work. And here in LA, some of the meetings I went to had 300 or 400 people. And I created a pitch and so forth designed to wake people up. And the whole thing, the whole lead into this whole thing was the banking system, the corrupt banking system, the Federal Reserve, how and why it's corrupt. And this is the problem. This is why we're having all these financial problems and so forth, that we have a corrupt banking system. And I would meet people, talk to them about it at these mixers, get them interested in it, and then tell them, here's a video or two for you to watch. Okay. Yeah. And I'd have their interest, and they go back to their office or whatever, next few days, watch the video, I follow up with them, and then I start talking to them more about what's going on. So I found I was waking up in a night 6 to 12 people myself doing this. What if I get hundreds of people doing this, or thousands of people doing this? How many people could wake up within the small business community, say at least around the country in the US, maybe beyond that? Well, there's a problem with it. Okay, you got to have a very outgoing personality. You have to have a sales kind of mentality. And most people have had so many losses trying to talk to others about it. Getting people to do this was like pulling teeth. Yeah. I have a blog. You can go look at it. It's wakethepeople .wordpress.com. wakethepeople.wordpress.com. So you can go and see the blog and see this was the original thing that I did. Before I did it is when I met G. Edward Griffin. And a friend of mine who has a product, I was helping him market it a little bit, called Folium PX, a brilliant product which flushes heavy metals and radiation out of the body. Really cool product, okay? And so I put a plug in for him because it's a great product, and we're all going to need this thing because
yeah, tell me more about that. Yeah.
Well, it's called Folium PX. Babri Oren is my friend's name, who asked me to help him out with this because he doesn't have any money. He's trying to market this thing on a shoestring budget. It was actually developed. Folium was developed in the Russian state, former Soviet state of Georgia. Oh, where the Chernobyl happened? Yes, it was developed to help people who had radiation poisoning. And and he has the rights to it here in the United States, I think worldwide maybe even, to market this product. He's got another product too he's going to be marketing. But interesting enough, when I was meeting with him and going over it, I looked at his website and I looked at his advisory board, and I look at the members and see G. Edward Griffin. Okay, so I said to him, so G. Edward Griffin's on your advisory board? How well do you know him? And then I started realizing he's pretty awake, that my friend Babri's pretty awake to the New World Order agenda. I had no idea he was. And so I said, can I meet him? So yeah, I can set something up and we can go meet him. So he lives in the LA area, so, which I live in, and we went out and met him one day. We went to a coffee bean, and we sat, and his wife and my friend Babri and Ed Griffin and I sat and talked for about 3 hours. Oh, wow. And I had the most incredible talk with him. It was just, the two of us, and Babri was talking to his wife this whole time. His wife was amazing too. They're just an amazing couple. Oh. And so we talked for about 3 hours, and I told him about this project I wanted to start. I hadn't started it yet. And he said, Mark, you've got to do it. That you just have to do it. So after that, I went and created the blog and started doing it, and worked on perfecting my pitch, and was going to meetings. And I set up a group in my community that I lived in. Again, as former president of the Chamber of Commerce, I knew a lot of people in my community, a lot of business people, and I was able to create a group, and it got up to where we had about 40 members, and we had biggest attendance maybe 27 at a meeting, something like that. And where I talked about this, I figured out how to start a group as well. I put that on the blog too, how to start a group. But this didn't work well because I couldn't get people to go to the events. Even people I knew, I couldn't get them to go to the events who were awake. They didn't want to do it. So it took me years, because I'm so stupid, to figure out, well, one thing I know about marketing. One thing about marketing, you want to make an average salesperson a great salesperson. Give them material
Good tools.
to hand out that will blow them away. And okay, well, duh, then the solution is create brochures that will blow people away and just get people to hand them out. And with the brochures we have that we've developed, all you got to do is go to a person's house, leave it on the front doorstep. That's it.
Here, I'm going to show it. I'm sharing the screen now.
Yeah. So, and
You see it?
And it's a marketing piece. And the panel over here on the right is the cover. This is an 8.5. Oh, you have an 8.5 by 14 out there. So it's a double fold. There's a black and white version. There's a black and white version in 8.5 by 11 also, and a color version 8.5 by 11. You can print them out on a laser or inkjet printer and go hand them out. This is just a simple double fold. It's easy. And the front panel is designed with emotional hot buttons to grab people, so they're going to want to pick up, and they're not going to want to just pick it up. They're going to want to start reading the content. Yeah. And sure enough, when I hand them out, when I'm handing out, and when I watch people, sometimes the person will go to the front door right away, maybe see me coming, and I walk away, and they pick up the brochure by the front door, and invariably they would pick it up and start reading it before they even go into the house. Yeah. So people are reading it. And we know from the results we're getting, people are actually going to the website we created as well. So the front panel's hot buttons. What's next after COVID and riots? Financial collapse, end of our freedom, food shortages, dangerous vaccines. And it's time to stop sleepwalking and wake the hell up before it's too late.
I know, this is great, right? Financial collapse, end of our freedom, food shortages, dangerous vaccines.
Yeah, and
right?
And the content that I wrote pretty carefully, rewritten several times to try to get this the way I wanted it, is designed to not just wake people up, but it's designed actually not just for the conservative point of view, but I wanted to be able to capture, you call them, if you want to call them moderate liberals, moderate progressives.
Well, everybody, it's for everybody.
It's right? For everyone. So so I get into, you look at a section on the panel on the second side, I believe. And this is where I want to appeal towards the moderate liberal. And actually, even when I went to the networking events, I figured out how to talk to these people. It's not hard because all of them are opposed to big corporations, and they understand all the banking system. They're opposed to it. They may believe in socialism. I don't really care about that, but they are opposed to the banking system. But what I said here is that the super elites are on course for ending the United States and all other nation states. They want to coerce us all into a world economic and political order under an authoritarian United Nations while hoodwinking us into their sustainable development agenda without bothering to actually clean up the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm forgetting it. God, these people are opposed to cleaning up the environment. And then I go on in the next panel, I say, the super elites could have stopped the world's pollution if they would have supported Nikola Tesla's work to its conclusion rather than shutting down his lab so the world will be stuck relying on oil. So I'm feeding into the liberal viewpoint that, hey, look, the sustainable development thing isn't going to do crap. And it's these people who are behind the pollution problem. And these people need to be stopped. So I'm trying to appeal to that audience as well as to appeal to the conservative.
Yeah, I mean, this is because it involves all of us. And this is one of their tricks too, is that they've divided us via political parties. So we can't talk to each other about this stuff. But when we do, you know, without these political divides, we definitely have a lot in common, and we basically want the same things. And that's the frustrating thing. Even some friends of mine, you know, like I'm trying to tell them stuff, but then they know that, you know, I don't listen to the news, and I'm a truther, a conspiracy theorist, and they're, you know, they're left wing, or they've been brainwashed to be left. And they won't even hear, like, a lot of what I say just falls on deaf ears. They can't even, like, oh, you know, it's your crazy theories again. You know? But if it wasn't for that, they would basically, I think they would have more of a listening. And the thing that really ticks me off too is the people make it, if you question the global warming narrative, they try and make it sound like we don't care about the environment.
Right.
When we're really trying to say it's the corporations that's causing the pollution and all this stuff happening, where it's not the person. And like I was talking about earlier, how they like to project, right? So with the global warming narrative, they're trying to project it onto human beings and saying that human beings are the problem. You know, it's giving us this self-hatred complex of being a human being, and that we need to be exterminated and destroyed.
Right. And no,
realize that it's the corporations and the way that they're managing, you know, the resources and how they're polluting their environment, then, you know, we find common ground.
Exactly. And that's what the attempt here is to create as much common ground as possible. And when I talk very little about politics in here. I don't mention any names. The only name mentioned in here is Rahm Emanuel, just because I'm quoting him. But nowhere else do I mention who the elite are or any names in here. And the only thing I really say about is in here concerning politics, as I say, don't you get it? The people of Russia, Iran, Syria, North Korea, and China are not our enemies. Rather, our real adversaries consist of filthy rich corporate bankers, power-crazed multinational corporate leaders, and federal and state governments. I carefully said here, most elected representatives and appointed officials, because there are a lot of people out there who voted for a certain congressman or a certain senator or whatever and think they're wonderful. So I'm saying most, not all. Okay.
I'm sorry, are you in the first page or the second page?
The second page, sorry. It's the panel, right, the panel where you right where you have the arrow going to the left. To the left. Yeah, that one there. And then I go on and say, they control the mainstream media, including the most popular social media, and use it to spread their propaganda. They call themselves the super elites. That's my understanding of what they call themselves. So I'm calling them that, the super elites. And that's a long story because this is the point that Jerry Griffin corrected me on. So I went for that name. And sometimes refers to us as useless eaters because they think we're wasting away the Earth's resources. Their aim is to destroy you and your family. Yeah. So I'm really staying away from politics and trying to say, hey, look, this is the enemy. This is who they are. Yeah. These are your enemy. And statements I make, like on the panel before that, where it says, why do you keep watching and listening to mainstream media and news reporters only give a damn about their popularity and their bank accounts? So, so the game is what we're trying to do is get people to stop listening to the mainstream media and the news on the internet, and start paying attention to the people who are really trying to get the truth out there. So, so it's covering all bases, and I'm attacking them as being the ones really that created the phrase conspiracy theorists, and that they did that to degrade truth seekers so the public would continue to believe their lies and ignore revealing the truths. So we're really trying to shift people's belief systems, which isn't easy. A lot of people aren't going to go for it easily, but they've got the brochure. A lot of people are reading it. And the hope is some people will wake up immediately. And we're seeing that. We're getting a lot of response every day. I'm calling them newbies, people that are going to our website and going to a page on the website that's for them. So we're seeing a whole lot of people doing it already. But the bulk of the people are going to have this in the back of their mind, and they see, as they see more things transpiring that we're talking about here, got more of a chance of waking up a lot more people. So that's where we want to go. You need translators.
I always say this, but seriously, like and I'm putting this out, I'm not like trying to say, oh, you get, but people that's watching this, if you can translate these brochures for him, you know, because you're very humble, Mark. You're doing this, you know, Mark is not a rich dude. He's doing this out of the kindness of his heart. He's not getting paid to do this. But if he can get some free help just translating, and it's not that, at least the brochures, you know, it's not, it's only a couple pages. You know, That would be very, very helpful too, because, you know, I speak Spanish. I wouldn't say I can, maybe I can translate. I don't know. I don't want to mess it up. Somebody that's a professional translator. I'm trying to get certified right now, so I can be that maybe in a few months. And at this moment, like, you know, you would need Mandarin, you know, Japanese, Spanish, German, French. They just had a huge, what do you call it, walkout in Germany. If you can get this in German and get some people in German to try, like if you guys, any translators, anybody that knows a second language that can translate this brochure for him, that would be a big help, you know, because
I have someone working on it in German right
now.
Oh,
perfect.
But, you know, if you know German, somebody out there knows German, go for it. And the thing is to understand this, that we have to know is that this is a moving target. This is about the 12th version of this brochure. And I'm constantly changing it as new things hit the media and the general public. So things do change somewhat here and there concerning the content from time to time. So people do translate it. You know, they may need to do it more than once. As things change, you're going to need to go in routinely and look at the brochure and see if things changed at all. And of course, we need also translation for the page that people go into. But the thing is, there are a lot of videos on there that are all in English, and so we might
be able to find some translated versions too. There are a couple of Spanish channels I know that are, you know, that talk about this stuff. One is Conciencia Radio. One is this guy, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but the channel is named Fabio Completo, and he basically translate a lot of the truther videos. He subtitles it in Spanish, like David Icke and any interviews and stuff like that.
That's really important. That's really, you're bringing up a very important point. I want to bring up another one that's really important. I don't want to be the only one doing this. And anybody who's out there that has marketing skills, web design skills, promotion design skills, and so forth. None of this is copywritten. You can take this, do what you want with it, and create your own thing, your own brochures. If you got another way, if you like to do it with postcards or whatever, you've got other ideas, do it. This needs to be decentralized. And if some of you out there can look at this, say, hey, I can create something better than this, go for it. If there's some people out there to create something a lot better than me, and I get washed under by a bunch of other people, I couldn't be happier. What I want to do is defeat the elite. I want to get rid of these people.
And you just want to be free, dude. Like
exactly.
You don't want to. We don't want sickness or disease anymore, or war, or, you know, like suffering. I mean, basically, it's about all of us. It's not a left-right thing. That's what we want. We don't want this stuff anymore.
Absolutely. So I don't care. The more people want to do this, the greater it is. And I can tell you some things about the audience that I'm getting. That's pretty interesting too, because I this only started a month. I launched this about a month ago. Okay, and we're already right now, and you know, I've been posting all over internet videos, kind of acting as a parasite, but it's my target market. And so I'm sorry, guys out there who are website hosts and are parasiting on in your comments section, but
dude, that's how you troll in that section.
But I need to do it. Yeah, it's what it's done is we're averaging now over 200 visits a day to the website, and about now 50 to 75 are what I'm calling newbies, that are people that basically got the brochure on their doorstep. I'm estimating that we probably have now between 400 and 500 people doing some handouts to some degree, based on what I see with downloads and so forth, and statistics, some of the analytics that I have. So it's growing fast, and it keeps growing, and the numbers are getting bigger and bigger every day. And these talk shows, like doing this with you, is the way to really explode this thing. And because really what we need is not hundreds of people doing this, we really need hundreds of thousands worldwide. And right now, about 56% of the people that are going to the website are Americans. About 80% that are coming to the website are in English-speaking countries. The other 20% are everywhere in the globe. Several countries in Europe we've got people handing them out. Amazing that we're getting response from people who are getting the brochure from countries where English is at best maybe a second language. And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
We're getting responses from the Netherlands. We're getting responses from, these are just homeowners, people, newbies from Belgium, Sweden, Denmark, a little bit from Germany, a little bit from Russia, Croatia, Serbia, all these countries where, you know, a lot of people in Europe do speak English. So it's obviously somehow people getting it out there to people, and people going to the website. So that's great. But yeah, we do need this translated into various brochures, and anybody who wants to hand them out in another country, in a country that's not really English speaking, go ahead and translate it. If you can't design a brochure and you just want to put it into just like a Word document and hand it out, do that then. Whatever, just get the truth out to people. That's what we need to do.
But I want to say, like, I go back for a minute, because I'm really big on the translations, because a couple days ago, the maintenance guy comes and fixes my AC, and he has a mask on. And I tell him, you know, in Spanish, I was like, take off your mask, dude. I don't care. Like, that doesn't bother me. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. And he was just like, you know, he was basically, I was like, so what do you think about this? He was like, it's a game. It's a hoax. He was basically saying it's in the head. And he's from Cuba, you know. And
really?
I was just thinking, it's frustrating that there are a lot of illegal immigrants that are, you know, that are good. I mean, whether they're taking jobs, that's another section. But most of my experiences with people that are illegal have been good. They're people just like us. And I feel bad that a lot of them are basically just trying to keep their head down, not say anything, not rock the boat. But they know, a lot of them know this is bullshit too.
Yeah, and sure, they can wake up. And but if they if the brochure, if they can't read it, that doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell by talking to this guy was super intelligent, but his English isn't that good, you know?
So I need translators. I also need to get, you know, this site is on Wix, the current site. I need to get it off of that. I'm working on it to get it onto another platform, and I have a source that
we have more protection because
I have a source that has a lot of people within our movement that have a lot of websites on a source. So it's a very secure server. So I have that, and I'm working on that, and hopefully within a couple of weeks I'll get this thing done, and we'll slowly move off of Wix. I don't want to stay there for a number of reasons.
Yeah, because you know, they're going to be like, your information's harmful.
They could.
We have to take it down.
I anticipate it, and so it's okay. I have all the content and everything, and I'm redoing it, and I'm part of the way there, and I will have it done. I will have it up, and we have the domain name will be wakethehellup.org. That I own that domain, and this one is you need to put it at the bottom of your in your comments down there. It's right now. It's wakethehellup.wix site wixsite.com/home. Here's the home page, and then the one that I would send your guys to is the page which is actually it's brochures -download. And actually, this is the way I can tell new people from people that are already awake, because people already awake are being told to go to the page. It's the download page, and everybody else, if they get the brochure, they're being sent to the home page. So it's very easy to tell with a visitor, for the new visitor. I can tell all the new visitors that are going directly to the homepage. These are newbies, so it's very easy for me to tell if it happens to be somebody that is awake and went to the maybe did a revisit back to the website and went to the homepage. My analytics tell me that, so I know very clearly who the new people are, so we can see what's happening. So it's working. That's the thing. It's exciting. And you don't have to talk to anybody. And when you do hand them out, there will be times where someone will open the door and say, whoa, hey, can I talk to you? Yeah, this is great. And I've had two people do this to me, and when I've been handing them out, and they say to me, "I'm aware of all this stuff. Thank you."
Yeah.
And when
Or
they say
they know something is off, right? They're just like, oh, something's off. I knew it. I knew that.
But some are really awake. And then I've had conversations with people and say, "Oh yeah, I listen to Alex Jones all the time." I've had a few things like that. So I mean, there are people awake out there you can hand these things to. And what I do is tell them, "Great, that's super. Now take a look at the website. Please go to the website, print out copies of the brochure, and start handing them out."
Yeah.
So
smart. Yeah,
so,
make it.
And I've had one complaint from everybody distributing them. One idiot. One idiot sent an SD email. One. That's it.
It's probably
I'm saying one out of who knows, tens of thousands of brochures have probably gone out. I've had one complaint. So that's it. So I mean, hand these things out, guys.
What did they say?
You got nothing to hand them out. It's okay. I mean, and there's instructions on how to hand them out. If you want to wear a mask when you go out, if it's really tight in your community, do it. The message you're sending out is the brochure. It's not you. It's okay to do that if you want to. If you don't want to wear a mask, I say one of two things you do. I have some things you can print out on that page that talk about why masks don't help. Okay, so they can hand out the flyers. And also, who is it? I have to think. Who is it that created the real wonderful thing? It'll come back to me in a couple minutes.
Well, let me just ask you this question. What did the complaint say? I want to know.
Oh, you want to know the one complaint?
Yeah, I want to know.
It was a Christian.
Okay.
And the issue was I used the word hell.
Really?
How dare you put this on my doorstep, you evil person? And
I think Jesus would be disappointed. I think Jesus would look at them cross-eyed and be like, "What?"
Right, exactly.
That's
how it was a stupid comment that someone didn't even bother to read the thing. I saw the wake the hell up. How dare that? That's blasphemy, and that was it. That's the one complaint.
I call this fake Christians. It's like I did a call-in show yesterday, and there's a guy that called in, and I've been talking about this with some of my friends too, about a lot of these people that call themselves Christians. They're just, submitting, capitulating to evil. They'll preach about the Bible and stuff all day, but now when it really comes to real problems, they don't want to do anything about it. And they want to nitpick at stupid problems,
Well, I had, when I had my group and I had that biggest meeting with 27 people, one of the people there, this guy I really wanted on board because he was a millionaire, very successful in business. He could help really fund what we're doing and everything else. But he was born again Christian, very religious. And I had some born again Christians in the audience there. But this guy said, "Well, I understand this, but it's a matter of faith. And if this is what God wants, this is what God wants." And basically,
I hate that shit.
It's like, yeah, right.
I hate that shit too. Like, you might as well just hang out with the devil. You might as well be in the devil's gang.
Right. And I had a couple people arguing with him, one in particular that was born again Christian, saying, "No, we have to take action."
Yeah, I mean, I believe in prayer, and I do, but you guys take action. Jesus didn't sit around and pray. He, he did shit. He did stuff. And of course I get people, I like to vent on my channel. I don't particularly curse people out in their face, but when I get mad and I rant, and I get people that get mad and they're like, "Oh, well, I can't share your stuff because you said hell or damn," or, and I'm thinking, no, you can't share my stuff because you're afraid of what other people think and you're a coward.
Well, yeah. So anyway, probably there are a few other people that have received these that think the same thing when they see that, and that's okay. I mean, you're not going to capture everybody with anything you say. I had one comment from somebody who is handing them out, who said that got a negative comment with Rahm Emanuel's picture on here, thinking that it was like a left-wing brochure.
Wait, whose picture?
Rahm Emanuel, who is you know who that is, right?
No.
He was the chief of staff under Barack Obama, and he was
Oh, okay.
Mayor of Chicago, very left wing. I think he was born in Israel, I think, I believe.
Okay, got it, got it.
And right, so that's who he is, and he's obviously a globalist.
Yes,
But it was his quote, his famous quote that he made. They made never let a serious crisis go to waste. What I mean by that is an opportunity to do things that you could not think you could not do before.
Here,
Right under there, we say powerful people are using COVID-19 to ruin the economy and steal all your wealth. So we're saying, hey, look, that's exactly what's going on here. Is they're taking this crisis, regardless whether they created it or not themselves. I'm not saying they created it themselves in this brochure anywhere. But I'm saying, hey, they're using COVID-19 to destroy the economy. So that's the whole point of it. So that's why his picture is there. But that's okay. People are going to misunderstand it. Not everyone's going to agree with what this is going to say. This is going to challenge seriously people's belief systems. People that believe in government, that think we've got a wonderful government. Look, we're going to have that. So be it. What are you going to do? There's a percentage of the population you can't wake up. Even when I went to these meetings, these networking meetings, and I would talk to people, about 40% I found at that point of small business owners were very interested in what I had to say. The rest of them, the other 60% were deadheads. And I would just say, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Shake the person's hand, walk away, and go talk to somebody else.
Yeah, don't waste your time on people that are that pig-headed. You know, it's like, you know, that's what I'm realizing too. Like, I'm not really trying to wake people up that don't want to wake up. I mean, because they're going to suck your energy. And you know, the thing about those people, I feel that if enough people around them wake up, then they'll wake up, because it's really more about them, I think, not wanting to be the conspiracy theorist or the weirdo. So they're just going to follow the crowd so they don't stand out and they don't look weird. But then once the crowd starts to shift to the other side, they're still going to follow the crowd, right? Follow the popularity, they follow the popular people.
Exactly.
It's like that in high school.
And you look at this brochure, another thing that this says, and it's in there for a reason, it's a true statement, but it's in there in big, big letters for a reason. It says, millions of people are already awake. Will you join us?
Yeah, right.
That's why it's there. Okay, exactly for that. Is to say, oh, I can join the herd of opposing this. Okay, I guess that's okay to do. And it's true. There are millions who are awake. So that's part of it. And the best thing I think for your people is to go to the website, start handing them out. We've got a limited amount of time. I've timed it here in Southern California. Homes are closer together here than a lot of other cities. It's, you know, the real estate's so expensive here. But in a little bit over 2 hours, I can hand out 200 of them.
Oh.
I get exercise doing it. I wear sneakers when I go out, or, you know, my running shoes. I go out there and I fast walk or trot a little bit. You know, I do almost jogging. I work up a sweat when I'm doing it here in the summer, and go house to house, just boom, 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 get them all out. That's what I do. And that's what you don't have to do it that way, but if you want to get the highest quantity out and get this over with, if everybody just did 200 a month, and we can build this up, we have tens of thousands of people doing this. And we can do that. Maybe we can even get it to hundreds of thousands as we're on talk shows and we're talking about this. Over the next few months, maybe we can make that difference that we need. This is the last hope. People are being kicked off of YouTube. If you're on BitChute or anywhere else, you don't have the general public going there, which is what they want. So basically, people on BitChute are pretty much talking to the choir. So how are you going to get people to a platform like BitChute? How are you going to do that? The brochures. That's the way. So this is replacing YouTube.
Yeah.
So let's replace YouTube and replace it to a degree much greater than what YouTube was able to do. And let's get this out to as many people as possible so we get as many newbies on there. And the website has a ton of stuff on there. It's got great videos on there. It's got.
Maybe you can pull up the website so people.
Yeah, pull up the website. I put Truth or Talk on there now. So you've got.
Thanks.
Okay? So I've got over 20 shows on there, and I explained why I did that. I said there was no way I could narrow it down faster because there are hundreds of them. Basically, is what I said in the website. So narrow it down to 20, 25. So just pick and choose one, and start watching it. And they're all people that I think are really great. And
so hold a second. What? Wake the hell up dash what?
Wake the hell up .wix site WIX ITE .com/home to go to the home page, or another slash after home, download dash brochures. That's the page your people need to go to. That's the page that has the information on how to download the brochures. It's asked for registration. You don't have to give any information on yourself if you don't want to. You can give us a lot of information if you choose to. It's up to you. And this was a suggestion. This was one of J. Edward Griffin's big suggestions for me. He said, don't make it restrictive. And he had a wealth of suggestions for me on what to say. He's just wonderful. I wanted to tell one story about him. That
yes, go for it. You can talk, and as you're talking, I'll like scroll through the website.
I've had a phone conversation with him since then, but I brought an earlier copy of the brochure out to him. This friend of mine and I, we went to visit him. He has a retreat in Central California. I'm not going to tell you where it is. It's a very private area, almost impossible to even find the thing. He's got enormous property, beautiful property. And he took us for a walk. J. Edward Griffin's been around for a while. He's not a young guy. Okay, I'll just say he's over 80. I don't want to, over 80, easily over 80.
He's great though.
Anyway, his property is very hilly. Southern California, typical coastal property, very hilly. And we had virtual hike to get to the spot he wanted us to take us to, so we had this ocean view from his property. I'll tell you what, the two of us were a hell of a lot younger than him, and we had trouble keeping up with him. This guy, he works around the clock, he loves what he does, he's healthy, obviously he's done tremendous research and believes wholly in alternative medicine, and he's been practicing it, and he's healthy, thank God, because he's so vital to our movement. Tremendous. One other thing I want to say about him that amazed me. In his retreat home, he took us up to his loft. We had to go this difficult staircase. It wasn't that easy to get up there. I mean, he's doing this probably daily going up there. He has a library there. It looks like you're walking into a library of a high school. Row after row of books, hundreds and hundreds of books. And I'm looking at some of these books. They're all about government and conspiracy, money, banking, all this stuff. Some of them are old books, 30, 40, 50 years old, were published years ago. I asked them, I said, how many of these have you read? He said, almost all of them.
Yeah, he's a wealth of knowledge.
Oh my God. And I could live up there in his library and read all day, all night. Just amazing. So he didn't come to these conclusions on a whim. He studied this like crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a great man.
We were, my friend and I have been talking about how, the libraries are closed, and she was saying, I bet you they're going to start, throwing away books and deleting microfiche and microfilm and stuff so they can start erasing history. And as soon as she said that, the next day she found this article showing that the Chicago Library found hundreds of books in the trash that were just in perfectly good condition.
Yeah, it's happening. It's
the book burning. Very correct.
Look, if they get what they want, the next generation doesn't know anything about freedom. Nothing. The founding fathers will be criminals.
They'll be racist,
slave owners who whipped their slaves. They were racists, and the whole thing they called this Constitution was racist. It was a racist document, and we have gotten past that now, and now we have something wonderful for you, right? Called Brave New World.
Yeah, I know.
So that's for those who survive. And not many of us are going to survive to see that. And we need to understand that this is really a call to arms. And what I'm asking for people to do is, this is a call for arms. This is like it's like World War II after Pearl Harbor, only a much greater scale. much more dangerous.
It's worldwide. It's global.
And these brochures are your weapons. That's what it is. It's an information war. And all your listeners, really, it's an obligation. Unless you have something else you can do that's going to wake people up and change the world, get these brochures out. If you hand out just 200 a month and everybody's doing it, we're going to get somewhere. So do it. People are responding to these brochures. I'm blown away by the response we're getting. That, my God, people are actually going to the website. They're actually going to they're actually going and watching videos and doing things. They're actually doing this stuff. This is exactly what the elite is afraid of. They're afraid of an awakening. And Virstyne, we've got the way to do it now. And again, not just me, please, all you people that are in marketing and can develop stuff, duplicate what I'm doing, duplicate it in any way you want. Let's get this show on the road. We may only have a few months left. Once we've all been vaccinated and 5G is, we've had it. Well, I know you're not. But if they make it compulsory, look, Trump wants to bring in the military, at least that's what he says.
Yeah.
Being forced to say that or whatever. But if people are stomping down your door, knock you down, and take the syringe out and stab it in your arm, how are you going to stop it?
I have a gun, so I'm willing to not die and not take the vaccine.
Then that's the way you'll go. They'll shoot you in the head. But the point is this: they're going to try to eventually. I don't know if they're not going to get to that in the first stage. It's going to be eased in. It's going to be, that's down the road.
Yeah, I think they're going to do like they did in Argentina. Like, you won't be able to fly, you won't be able to go to work, you won't be able. I just got a comment today where this guy's saying his brother's already working somewhere where he has to get tested regularly for this fake ass virus, and then on top of that, he's going to have to get the vaccine to be able to go back to work. So,
but it could happen pretty fast because with the vaccines and with 5G, you're going to see an explosion of sickness.
Yeah.
So, and who's going to be spreading the news about why everybody has to be vaccinated? But the mainstream media. Yeah. And it's going to be total fear mongering. If you're horribly selfish if you don't get vaccinated. You got to get vaccinated. We're never going to get rid of this disease. Yeah. Little will they tell you that it's the vaccine and it's 5G mixed with all these other things like geoengineering and GMOs that the mixed soup.
And the mask wearing, and
that's what's getting people sick.
Yeah.
And I mean, this could literally over the next 10 years kill a couple billion people.
Yeah.
This is really serious. So guys, let's stop them.
Yeah. We will. Thank you, Mark.
Wakethehellup.wixsite.com/home.
Wakethehellup.wixsite.com/home. That'll get you into the website. If you want to go directly to the brochure page, it would be /home/download-brochures.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll send that to you. I'll send you all the links. You can post them all on this at the bottom, and people are welcome to contact me. Wake the hell up at email.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mark. I will talk to you guys later. Peace, love, bye. Mwah.